Hi, Charles, this is Book Sage here, and this is, I guess, a weekend edition of Friday Reads. So I guess a weekend reads. I am working my way through three different pretty large series this year. Two sci-fi, one fantasy. The sci-fi are Vorkosigan Saga by Lois McMaster-Bujold and Honor Harrington by David Weber. And the fantasy series is the Malazan. And I'm going to be reading the main Malazan Book of the Fallen 10-book series and the companion books that are written by, I think, Esselton or something. So I'm going to be kind of mixing those up together. But this weekend, my main priority is finishing up the Vor game. Now, for Vorkosigan, I'm actually reading it in timeline chronological order, because Bujold wrote the series just randomly out of water. Whichever book, I guess, she felt like writing, she wrote. And most of them, you can just jump into the series with that book. And, you can kind of move around the timeline. I always read publication order. There are very, very few exceptions. Vorkosigan may be my first real main exception. I read Falling Free, which is like a prequel that takes place 20 years earlier, back in September, as sort of to get a taste of Vorkosigan, because I knew I wanted to read the series this year. So I'm continuing in order, which I'm actually very happy I did, because when I finally got to Warrior's Apprentice, the first book with Miles Vorkosigan, who was the main character, I'm glad that I read the two books, Shard of Honor and Barriar, which is his mother's story, Cordelia Naismith's story. Because there's a subplot with supporting character in that Warrior's Apprentice that, knowing the past, made that subplot much more riveting. It took it up a couple of notches for me. You don't need to know that character's past. It's not going to really, you're not going to lose anything, but I found knowing it just added more to the story personally. If you read them in publication order, I think you find out their past quite a bit later, but I'm not really sure. Anyway, my plan was one of Vorkosigan book, Harrington book, Malazan book each month. So since it's the beginning of May, this is May 9th, that means I should have finished 4 of all 3 series. And just 2 weeks ago, I found myself finishing book 2 of Malazan, Deadhouse Gates, and having not opened a single Harrington or Vorkosigan book yet. So I've spent the past 2 weeks reading. I read Shards of Honor and Barriar, Cordelia's books, and then I read the first 5 Honor Harrington books back to back. And now I'm jumped back into Vorkosigan. And there's a couple of novellas in this series too, so I'm reading the novellas in the order where the author, Bujold, recommends they be read. So I read Warrior's Apprentice, and then I just read the novella Mountains of Mourning, which is a Hugo Award winner. And now I'm reading Vor Game, which is another Hugo Award winner. And so my main reading goal is to finish Vor Game this weekend. So that puts me in, I'm planning on actually finishing it today. I want it out of the way today. I'm really, really enjoying it. Very different, these two series, Honor Harrington and Vorkosigan. They're both space opera, kind of military space opera, sci-fi. Harrington is much more technical. They go into minutia and detail. It's kind of like Horatio Hornblower, but in space stuff. So the battles, the naval battles in space, they're very detailed, down to how fast they're moving, course changes, all that kind of stuff. And I enjoy reading that stuff too. So it's really interesting, a lot of fun. Vorkosigan is very different. Vorkosigan is more of a romp. It's Miles gets himself into crazy stuff. And he has physical limitations, because there was a gas attack just before he was born, and it affected his development as a baby. And so he has really severe physical limitations. So he knows he has to be smarter than everybody else. So these books are him getting himself into crazy situations and him trying to outthink his way out of it, because he can't fight his way out of it, not directly. But he's really good at inspiring other people, manipulating other people, and has a nice touch of luck when needed. But they're a whole hell of a lot of fun. I'm enjoying both series, but for Kosikin, it's just completely up my alley for that old school space opera sci-fi fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. So next up is, I have two choices now, since I'll have just about a week before the second half of the month, because my reading plan was first half of the month sci-fi, second half of the month fantasy, Malazan. So technically the second half of the month doesn't start till the 16th. So do I just dive into the next Malazan book and try to catch up? Because I'm only at book 2 there. I'm caught up, or will be caught up now with the 2 sci-fi series. Or do I take that week and just go to I have this new Goodreads Shelf I created, this TBR to read this year. And it's just kind of random, like standalone books that I'm adding into there. There are things outside of these 3 series that I want to read. Because I don't want to only read these 3 series. I mean, yes, between the 3 series is probably 40 books, so it's a lot, but there's a lot of other things I want to read. So do I take this week and dive into one of those books and read them and get them out of the way? Or do I just use the time to catch up on Malazan? So leave a comment below. I will actually link to that Goodreads bookshelf, so you can go there and click on it and see what's on there. I don't have a lot on there yet, but there are some books on there that I really want to read this year. So go take a look and just give me a recommendation down below. And that's a quick little video here. Like I said, I want to get caught up on Verkosigan, finish the war game. I'm just over halfway through, and he's just gotten himself into a really, really crazy tight situation. And I'm curious to see how he's going to get out of it. And that's it. Quick touch base. I'm thinking about having a companion kind of series to this sort of Friday reads, weekend reads. Either Sunday nights or Monday mornings or Mondays. Kind of a bookend of, did I actually accomplish the things that I set out to accomplish in my Friday video? So I think I might bookend the weekend with Friday reads, like Monday musings kind of things. Like, what did I actually accomplish? So we'll see. Yeah, I'm trying to get back into regular content, and it's really difficult for me to make videos when I'm only reading 3 new series I've never read before. I don't generally tend to talk a lot about series when I'm reading them for the first time, because there's so much I don't know, and there's so many other channels that know these stories in and out that I don't have much to contribute. I'm just absorbing them and enjoying them for the fun of it. Usually if I'm going to get more in depth into something, it's in a reread. But it is what it is. So I am Charles of Book Sage. Happy reading.